Potato.
Good afternoon, I'm Jacqueline Felgate. It's 4 o'clock and these are our top stories. The urgent hunt for a driver who left a motorbike rider dying on a Melbourne road. Plus, Victoria avoids the national COVID outbreak, but major concerns in New South Wales. The MCG prepares for a double header as the AFL does everything it can to keep the season going. The vaccine crisis deepens, a top doctor accused of fueling anti-vaxxers. And courts shock why Bill Cosby walked free.
Live from Melbourne, this is 7's Afternoon News with Jacqueline Felgate.
Good afternoon. A family has been left shattered by a hit-run tragedy that left a 26-year-old man dying on a road in Melbourne's southeast. Police have now located the car involved and, as Paul Dowsley reports, there's an urgent hunt underway for the driver.
This was a high-speed collision between a car and a motorcyclist, and tragically and predictably, it's the motorcyclist who has come off worst. He died, 26-year-old Matthew Weejink from Clyde, as he was riding down a long straight stretch of Thompson's Road in Cranbourne North. A car pulled out in front of him, doing a U-turn around 20 to 2 this morning, but the car driver didn't stick around after the impact. He stopped initially. His Commodore had significant damage to its back and side. But despite seeing Mr Weejink on the road, the driver got back in his car and drove away as others ran to help. But about 1,200 metres down the road, it's believed that Commodore driver miscalculated a turn and drove straight into a median strip and left another trail of debris as he was trying to get away from the crash scene. Matthew Weejink died on the road and a massive police search started for the driver and a family started grieving.
He was a very special boy to me. He was no angel, but I loved him. The car must have been virtually stationary when he hit it, and he must have been a little bit too fast at the time.
We've certainly got a witness that was overtaken by the motorcycle at high speed just before the collision.
He loved the thrill seek.
Did he take too many chances?
He probably did take a few too many chances, yes.
Residents say Thompson's Road is used like a speedway some nights, with cars and motorbikes sometimes racing each other. Police say they patrol the road frequently.
Victoria has posted another day without a new COVID case, but the rest of the East Coast is still on edge. New South Wales recorded an alarming 24 new infections, but it was better news in Queensland with just 2 cases and hope of coming out of lockdown.
With no new community transmissions on this gloriously sunny winter's afternoon in Melbourne, authorities say Victoria is in a good place when it comes to the COVID outbreaks.
Look, today's a good day here in Victoria.
But in New South Wales, 24 new cases today. Alarmingly, 12 had been out in the community while infectious. The race now on to find exposure sites and close contacts.
That's what we'll be looking at in the next few days and beyond as a measure of our success.
Also alarming, one of those who tested positive worked in a nursing home. The Premier fears people are out in the community working with symptoms.
A number of those cases were people who were conducting work in the last few days, some with symptoms, and we can't continue to have that happen.
In Queensland, just 2 new cases. A decision on ending the lockdown will be made tomorrow, but authorities are optimistic after today's figures.
We are very encouraged at the moment, very, very encouraging.
So yes, encouraging news for Queensland.
Concerned and frustrated by these scenes at Noosa Heads yesterday, police will patrol beaches there to enforce lockdown rules.
If we can't get compliance on our beaches, we'll have no alternative but to work with councils and start putting some barricades and things up.
In Western Australia, no new cases, boding well for an end to their lockdown on the weekend. No new cases too in South Australia, where there is no lockdown. In Victoria, with authorities confident outbreaks are now contained, the move is towards consolidation. From midnight, the amnesty ends for all workplaces to have QR codes in place. Those who don't comply face hefty fines.
Those organisations are not COVID ready and not doing the simple things like having QR codes, then there are a range of penalties available to them, and those measures apply to every single workplace from midnight tonight.
And Mr Weimar warns the rules will be enforced by ongoing patrols.
Australia's medical experts have distanced themselves from claims made by a top doctor that young people would be putting their lives at risk if they had the AstraZeneca shot. As Rob Scott reports, Queensland's Chief Health Officer isn't backing down over her controversial comments.
Far from backing down, Dr Young was doubling down today, defending herself, insisting that what she said is true, that she doesn't want people under 40 to get the AstraZeneca jab because of the minuscule risk of death associated with a very rare blood clotting disorder. But her comments have been slammed by Australia's medical community, who say her remarks are adding to vaccine hesitancy.
Nearly every medical leader, Omar Khorshid of the AMA, the president of the College of GPs, myself, distanced themselves from Dr Young's comments yesterday. She's unfortunately out on a very lonely limb there.
Getting any confusing and conflicting messages is dangerous at this time.
Certainly the type of scaremongering we've seen coming from the Queensland Premier and the Queensland Chief Medical Officer don't help confidence. They do help anti-vaxxers.
This debate flared up after the Prime Minister announced the government would offer doctors legal protection to give the AstraZeneca vaccine to people under 60, in direct contrast to the official health advice. And despite the criticism today, Dr Young is standing firm.
No, that is the truth, that there is a risk that you can die from one of those rare, and they're rare, blood clots. And the younger you are, the more likely it is it will happen.
People have a right, if we have vaccines available, in this case we have AstraZeneca available, to go to their GPs and make a decision about whether it is right for them to get the vaccine now.
And it seems they are. Since the Prime Minister made the announcement on Monday, more than 2,600 Australians under the age of 40 have had the AstraZeneca jab.
American comedian Bill Cosby has today walked free from jail after his landmark sexual assault conviction was overturned. An appeal court ruled he wasn't given a fair trial. US correspondent David Woywood has the latest.
Good afternoon. Yes, Bill Cosby tonight back at home after this shock decision to overturn his conviction. Still, the 83-year-old is tonight maintaining his innocence, accusers though furious at the development. Is Cosby's first fragile steps to freedom. The man once known as America's dad, propped up by his legal team as they address the media. Cosby, unwilling or perhaps unable, didn't say a word, leaving that to the team that secured his freedom after 2 years of a 3 to 10 year sentence.
He is extremely happy to be home. He looks forward to reuniting with his wife and his children.
The comedian later calling into a radio station.
This is for all the people who have been imprisoned wrongfully, regardless of race, color, or creed. Because I met them in there.
We love you, Mr. Cosby!
The court today ruled it identified a due process violation. The decision makes no claims to his innocence, this a legal technicality. But according to Andrea Constant, the woman who instigated the case with claims of sexual abuse in 2004, it does serve to discourage other women from making similar claims. Today's majority decision regarding Bill Cosby is not only disappointing but of concern in that it may discourage those who seek justice for sexual assault in the criminal justice system from reporting. Dozens of women had publicly made claims of sexual assault against Cosby, and today some expressed their extreme disappointment in the ruling.
I'm outraged. I'm infuriated.
Still, it's unlikely to change anything. Bill Cosby cannot be retried on these charges.
A woman is fighting for life after a horror crash outside Tullamarine Airport. She was the passenger in a car when it collided with a truck late yesterday. The driver of the car died at the scene. Police are still trying to determine what led up to the collision. Major changes to superannuation, stamp duty, water prices and even tax cuts come into effect today. Everything you need to know is just ahead. Plus, the MCG prepares for its first AFL doubleheader in decades. And why Melbourne is the busking capital of Australia. We're back soon across Victoria and Tasmania.
Love to me is, it's everything.
Just like the air I breathe. This year,
year, more than one farmer will find love.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting that fuzzy little feeling.
Real love is back.
New Farmer Wants a Wife starts Sunday at 7 on 7.
What am I looking forward to? Well, I just really want what I have today.
The more life changes, the more you know what's important. MLC.
Don't tell Grandad, but he was right. I've overcooked these steaks.
I'm always right, son. I thought you'd know that by now.
Dad, how on earth did you hear that?
Have you heard of Amplifon?
At Amplifon, the hearing care professionals experience our latest technology hearing aids with a free trial, including the new Ampli Mini. So small it's almost invisible. Call 13MyEars to book an appointment and experience a free trial in the comfort of your own home. That's 13 69 32 77. Amplifon, the hearing care professionals.
Everyone knows Australia has 4 big banks, but the 5th biggest retail bank is regularly voted one of the most trusted brands in Australia, looks after more than 1.8 million customers and can be found in over 500 locations nationwide. So try Bendigo Bank, the better big bank.
From the moment I laid eyes on you, this is what I said, I see it, and I like it, and I want it, yes I do. I need it to make me happy, baby, yes I do mean you. I see it, and I like it, and I want it, yes I do.
Those years on tour were crazy. I reckon I spent more time on the road than I ever did at home. So it's nice to finally spend some time in it. If you're like me and driving less these days, Appia's comprehensive car insurance rewards you with a drive less, pay less discount on your premiums.
Get a quote today. Call Appia on 13 50 50.
Got a bit of late night Euros fever? Try Sportsbet's same game multi with more markets, more offers and bigger odds. Make it a same game multi this Euros with Sportsbet.
The Good Guys Big Deal Days are on now. Get 37% off this Linsar 65-inch TV, $83 off this Bosch dishwasher, this Breville coffee machine only $829, plus this Dyson vacuum only $777. Big Deal Days only at The Good Guys.
For so many people living like Mariama, the pain is real and their lives are on hold. You too can help patients like Mariama. Go to mercyships.org.au or call 1300 Mercy Ships.
What makes a Tempur mattress so special? Is it the NASA technology that we developed into our unique Tempur material? Or that it helps you sleep better, longer, deeper? Tempur, a mattress like no other.
It's a big deal. Actually, it's a huge deal. Hang on, this is a massive winter deal. That's right, get a massive 33% off gas rates for winter when you switch to Energy Australia's Total Plan. Offer ends 28 July. Switch today.
Live from Melbourne, you're watching 7's Afternoon News. It is a lovely sunny 17 degrees outside right now, and Jane Bunn will be here with the forecast later in the hour. The MCG will host a double header on Saturday in the latest move from the AFL to keep the season going. Tom Brown is at the home of footy for us this afternoon. Hello, Tom. It is a big ask, but the MCG boss says his team is up for the challenge.
Jack, the MCG certainly up for the challenge. They're very keen to accommodate the AFL's request, having been unable to host games here just a couple of weeks ago due to Melbourne's lockdown. The MCC looking forward to hosting this historic double header. In terms of what it'll involve, obviously Melbourne and the Giants at 1:45 at the G on Saturday afternoon. Then at 7:40, just a few hours after the conclusion of that game, Fremantle and Carlton. The AFL still hopeful of Adelaide and Brisbane being over in Adelaide. But I just spoke to Stuart Fox, the MCC boss, about hosting this double header.
We've done double headers recently with the BBL. I think it was Australia Day where we had back-to-back games. So it's very doable for us. Event operations is what we do. We've got a quick 2-hour turnaround, but you know our priority will be making sure patrons are safe, and particularly the players and the teams.
Jack, of course, the conventional wisdom this morning was the Freo-Carlton game could even be in Geelong. But the AFL's essentially made this move for broadcast flexibility with all the equipment and vans and so forth, and also to give them flexibility on that Adelaide game in case they can't get back in and out of South Australia. It's quite complicated. We'll have all the details, including how it will make history. It's the first time, Jack, since the late 80s this has happened. We'll have more details shortly in our bulletin at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it's great to see footy back in Victoria. Thank you, Tom. From today, some workers will get a pay cut while households will save on water bills. Sarah Jones has the latest on all the changes coming into effect from July 1.
A new financial year and new changes that will impact all 6.5 million Victorians. From today, a 0.5% boost to superannuation, rising to 10%. It's a step towards secure retirement. The downside is many workers will get a pay cut if their employers have decided not to cover the cost of the increased contributions.
To see them effectively cutting workers' pay and pocketing the 0.5 increase that workers are entitled to is just a slap in the face for working people.
The country's lowest paid workers will receive a rise of $18.80 a week. Stamp duty discounts have officially been scrapped. Land tax now to rise from 1.3% to 1.55% for properties between $1.8 to $3 million.
An increase in outgoings for a household is always a struggle.
Households are set to save up to $47 a year on water, depending on where you live, while road tolls will jump another 1% this quarter. The new financial year could also mean cheaper drinks if brewers and distillers pass on the savings they'll make under more generous excise rebates.
Now to some news that'll be music to the ears of Melburnians. We are the busking capital of Australia. 2/3 of the country's street performers are here in Melbourne. For more on this now, we're joined by Dr Meg Elkins from RMIT. Thanks for your time, Meg. What is it that makes Melbourne so popular with artists?
Well, we have a very vibrant music scene here in Melbourne, and we're often regarded as the cultural capital of Australia, so this isn't really surprising.
You've done some research about the need for digital payments to help performers survive. Can you tell us about that and how it would all work?
This is really exciting because what we're able to do now is use QR codes to tap and go. So this means that the buskers actually are expanding their methods of payment because normally they just have coins. COVID means we're not carrying coins anymore. So the touch and go payments, it's a really good innovation for buskers.
And how important is it for these entertainers to finally get people back into the CBD?
It's so important. Buskers, street performers create a vibrancy and bring atmosphere and energy to a city. Without it, it's cold and stark. So we want to invite these performers in for us and our well-being, but also we want to be entertained.
I think we do. And how hard has it been, obviously, over the last 18 months for these type of people to earn a living?
Terribly. And that's why we want to encourage busking and encourage mobile payments because it keeps that relationship going with the fans and it encourages sustainable careers for these artists that are often on the fringes and left behind. So we want to sustain their careers, but also keep the vibrancy of Melbourne going.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Meg, thanks so much for having a chat to us this afternoon.
Yes.
Sport is up next, including the latest on two stars facing a tough break. The Bulldogs concede Adam Treloar's injury could see him miss the rest of the season. And later, a flying car to become a reality with a successful test flight. Stay with us right here on 7.
What is this really costing you? The hidden fees on cashless payments. What are you really being charged? The Sunrise investigation tomorrow.
We have to go! We can't get back to the present to fix the past and save the future! All good, mate! It's just... Let's do it in our boat day! Wait! Promo's anytime goal scorer! Yeah, got up! We just need the overs now!
Don't miss Sportsbet's new Bet with Mates. Start your group, bet together and share in the moment. Bet with Mates, new from Sportsbet.
With Dulcasoft, you can feel comfortable going. Dulcasoft is clinically proven to relieve constipation, gently nudging your bowel movement without causing cramps or sudden urgency. Dulco, when it comes to number 2s, we're number 1.
Looking for a way to boost your immunity? Redoxon's Triple Action formula helps support your immunity daily. Problem solved. This one's for every film buff who spent the entire movie explaining the entire movie. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Max. No sugar, no compromise.
So there's times where you look around the home and you think this needs fixing up, and DIY July is the time to do that. You can freshen up your favourite room with a feature wall, you can pop in a new basin in the bathroom, or you can just give your kitchen a quick makeover. Bunnings can absolutely help with those projects. We've got information on the website, we've got experts in store. It's very easy for us to give you a hand. So come into Bunnings and we'll help you improve your home this DIY July. Shop at Bunnings wherever you are, whenever you want.
Here at Amart Furniture, it's our mid-year clear with huge savings, like up to 50% off bedroom furniture and big brand mattresses. Sounds too good to be true. Amart Furniture. It just makes sense.
Light and Easy's Jumpstart Plus combines their award-winning healthy meal delivery service with their new app to help you achieve your weight loss goals sooner.
The first 2 weeks on the Light and Easy Jumpstart program were really easy. There was plenty of food, plenty of variety, and the weight came off quickly.
Jump online today.
Welcome to Space Jam, a new legacy with official sleepwear and outerwear from just $12. Now available at Best and Less.
When you're ready to buy a home, it's nice to know that people have your back. At People's Choice, we're for getting that first home and for buying your next. We're for growing families and separate bedrooms. We're for reaching new heights and the great rates that make it all possible. We're for being able to pay it off and for taking the night off. Because when you're home and happy, we're happy too. Ready to make it happen? Jump online today. People's Choice.
Time for sport now with Andrew McCormack. Macca, it's not looking good for Adam Treloar.
No, it's not, Jack. The Bulldogs concede his ankle surgery continues to cause problems. Live to Chief Football reporter Mark Stevens. And Steve-O, the Dogs might have to be without their star midfield recruit this September.
That's right, Andrew. A bit of a surprise, this one. We knew he was a couple of weeks behind in his rehab. He's just been very sore, to be honest, after that surgery on the syndesmosis. Normally a 6 to 8 week injury. Hasn't been able to do a lot of running at all. Just hasn't recovered like the Bulldogs would have liked. And the coach, Luke Beveridge, pretty honest today about where he's at. And he said he may be a chance to miss the entire season.
We just keep an open mind. You know, we hope to get him back towards the end of the year. If for some reason that doesn't happen and it's going to take a little bit more time, it's not going to be a major issue. And as much as he'll be frustrated with it, we just got to reassure him that we're not going to rush you. You've got to be 100%, and we'll see how we go.
So certainly in doubt for the season there. And bad news too at Carlton, Sam Doherty, another syndesmosis. It's a very common injury these days. This one also a surprise. He pulled up sore after that incident that we saw there, was limping around after the game. He's had his tests and it's a low-grade syndesmosis, but that usually 6 weeks minimum. I don't believe he'll play again this year. Here's the coach, David Teague.
It was a bit of a surprise. We weren't expecting it. He was hobbling around, and I think that's been a bit of a trend with this injury, is you can play out games and you feel all right, and then when you cool down it gets quite sore. But yeah, unfortunately for us, he'll be unavailable for a while.
So plenty happening in footy, and we'll have all the teams first at 6 tonight, Andrew.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark Stevens there. Aaron Finch has praised Justin Langer for taking confronting criticism of his coaching on the chin. Langer's intense style came under scrutiny during the home test series loss to India this summer. Finch says Langer made a heartfelt promise to change before they left for their tour of the West Indies.
We're all behind him 100%. The way that he's coached Australia in the last couple of years since he's taken over has been fantastic.
Australia will play 5 T20s and 3 one-days in the Caribbean. To tennis, and Nick Kyrgios never escapes drama, and his first-round match against Ugo Humbert at Wimbledon was no exception. Resuming at 3-3 in the fifth set, Kyrgios overcame a scary fall on the slippery grass to finish off the talented Frenchman 9-7 in the fifth.
Showed some resilience, come with age.
Jordan Thompson and James Duckworth are among 7 Aussies into the second round, playing his first Wimbledon singles since 2017. Andy Murray starting to build some momentum. The Scot came from 2-1 down to defeat German Oscar Otter. The Phoenix Suns were in party mode after advancing to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1993. Veteran Chris Paul dominated with a staggering 41 points in the Game 6 win over the Clippers.
118-92, the Suns have blown it open.
Not everyone was impressed though. Patrick Beverley was ejected for this second half shove. The Suns will meet either Milwaukee Bucks or Atlanta Hawks in the finals. And Richie Porte was 9th on the Stage 5 Tour de France time trial, trying to make up for lost time after the Day 1 crash. The Aussie settled on a support role, trying to help teammate Geraint Thomas beat Slovenian gun Tadej Pogačar. The reigning champ smashed all rivals by 19 seconds to close within just 8 seconds of the yellow jersey. That's all for sport, Jack. As Mark Stevens mentioned there, the teams, big night of teams, exclusively first here on 7 at about 6:15.
Just great to have all the matches back in town, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see you at 6. Thanks, Maka. Flying cars may seem like something futuristic, but it appears the future is already here. Designers in Slovakia have successfully flown a prototype between 2 airports. The vehicle is known as the Air Car, and it can transform itself from road vehicle to aircraft in just under 3 minutes. There'll be more safety checks before it goes commercial. Up next, a new donut day in Victoria, but fresh fears for New South Wales COVID fight. Our top stories are just ahead. Plus, the push to slash the number of return travellers flying into Melbourne. A GP weighs in on whether young people should get the AstraZeneca jab. An update on Britney Spears' fight for freedom. And Princes William and Harry prepared to come face to face to honour their mother. We're back in just a few minutes.
What do you want from me?
The truth. With every mystery, there's more to the story.
This job deserves another look.
And when someone vanishes, it's just the beginning.
I suggest you leave it alone.
Not a chance. On 7 Flicks.
Tell me what you did to her.
Unravel the clues.
There's a whole lot more.
Crack the cold case. Find the person who disappeared without a trace.
We don't know where she is.
Mystery Thursdays. Tonight from 7:30 on 7 Flicks.
Harris Scarf's big stock take sale is now on with 40 to 60% off all homewares in Manchester, 30 to 50% off all clothing, footwear and underwear, and 20 to 30% off all electrical. Ends Sunday 18th of July. Great brands, great prices in store and online.
At Terry White Chemmart, get real deals on your favourite brands like Centrum for women and for men, Maxagesic paracetamol plus ibuprofen, and Vicks Vapor Rub Easy Applicator Ointment. Shop in store or online. Real value every day at Terry White Chemmart.
With ING's no worries car insurance by your side, you can do your thing.
Powerball has jackpotted to $60 million. Are you keen? Well, first you have to play.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
When grabbing comfort food opens the door to germs, help protect your family with Pino Clean wipes. They kill 99.9% of viruses, including the flu virus. Be germ-wise this winter.
Here, you can't go wrong with the Legos.
Oh, thanks so much.
Don't forget the basilico.
That's perfect.
And the Parmigiano.
You're amazing.
Ciao, I'm going out.
Thanks, Nonna.
Looking for a way to boost your immunity? Redoxon's Triple Action formula helps support your immunity daily. Problem solved.
Bevmark's annual stocktake sale now on. 50% off all mattresses and 20% off all furniture. No gimmicks, no exceptions. Bevmark's stocktake sale now on. Bevmark's, the sleep professionals. Better sleep, better life.
Live from Melbourne, this is 7's Afternoon News with Jacqueline Felgate.
Victoria's just recorded another donut day, but the rest of the east coast is still on edge. There is hope Queensland will soon come out of lockdown, but officials are deeply concerned about New South Wales as the state recorded 24 new cases.
A number of those cases were people who were conducting work in the last few days, some with symptoms, and we can't continue to have that happen. And if we want the lockdown to succeed, all of us have to minimise our movement, and that's what we'll be looking at in the next few days and beyond as a measure of our success. But people going about their business, shopping and interacting with others is causing the virus to continue to circulate, and we can't have that happen. The whole purpose of the lockdown is to stop community circulation, community transmission, and that won't happen unless people stop interacting with one another, especially if they have symptoms.
Daniel Andrews is calling for a reduction in the number of overseas arrivals. He wants that number reduced by as much as 80%.
Is that it is better to lock some people out than to lock everyone down. And I am determined to do everything I can to avoid another lockdown. I can't guarantee 100% that there won't be one, but these are steps we can take that would make that much less likely.
Mr Andrews says he'll raise the issue at tomorrow's National Cabinet meeting. The political stoush over the vaccine rollout is far from over. Queensland's Premier and Chief Health Officer are standing by their advice. People under the age of 40 should not get the AstraZeneca vaccine. For more, we're joined by Melbourne GP Marianne Lancaster. Thanks so much for your time, Doctor. What's your response to all of this political commentary?
I'm concerned because it's sending out so many mixed messages, and ultimately, I know I'm a GP and I know I'm a bit biased, but I think you should just come down, speak to your health practitioner and find out the proper facts that are health facts, not political facts.
And what would you say now to people who are under the age of 60 and they're weighing up, they want to get the vaccine, but they're just unsure given all of the comments that have been made right around the country over the last few days?
I'd say to them to really take account of what the facts are. And the facts are that the side effects of the vaccine, as in the severe side effects, the clotting, are still incredibly rare, incredibly rare. Yes, if you can get the Pfizer, then go ahead and get it. But the point is that the faster we get everybody vaccinated, the better off we are as a community. So whatever that means, get the vaccine, talk to your health practitioner, weigh up the pros and cons. Largely, you will all be fine.
Can you talk us through some of the risks, say, associated with the contraceptive pill, obviously greater than the risk of getting this jab?
Absolutely. The risks of the contraceptive pill are something like 3 per 10,000 women will get DVTs. As compared to with the AstraZeneca vaccine, there are 3 per 100,000 people who will get the clotting, but they don't all die. Neither do all the people with the DVTs with the oral contraceptive pill. But the risk obviously is much higher. And when I talk to my patients about the oral contraceptive pill, I don't have any of them say, oh, I better not take it. I say to them, the risk is higher, you know that, you need to take precautions, and they do that. But they take that on board and they're quite happy to do it. Same with long haul flight. They're not doing any of that at the moment, but when they have been, they get told the same thing about the risk that they're going to take. Everything we do has got a risk associated with it. It's very small.
Despite all of the confusion, have you seen an increase in interest from young people just wanting to get the jab, the AZ jab at your clinic?
Yes, I have. It's interesting. It sort of waxes and wanes a little bit. So you get the press and then it tends to go down a little bit when they hear the stuff about it and the dangers. But I've had a lot of my patients just recently ring and say, just get us in. We need to get in for whatever reason, whether it's because they've got other members of the community in their family that they want to protect, more vulnerable people, whatever. But yes, they're just saying we're done with all of this, just get us vaccinated.
And at some point, do you just have to weigh up the risks between potentially getting COVID and these very rare side effects as well? Obviously, catching coronavirus is so much worse.
It is, but in the younger people, even if they catch it, they're probably not going to get a severe side effect from it. And that's what you've got to assess. But having said that, they are still spreaders. So from a community transmission point of view, from older relatives' point of view, it's not just about protecting yourself because you think, oh, what if I get coronavirus? It's about protecting those near you. It's about protecting the community. So it's not just about that. Yes, if you get COVID-19, it's not great, but the younger people certainly seem to not be as affected. However, that is changing with the Delta variant, but it's about protecting the community as large as well.
It certainly is. Doctor, thanks so much for your thoughts this afternoon. We really do appreciate it.
No problems.
A returned traveller stuck in hotel quarantine has learnt the devastating news her father passed away in a Melbourne hospital this morning. She's one of many fully vaccinated people who've been seeking exemptions from 14 days in isolation. Amelia Brace reports.
Well, this is yet another heartbreaking story of someone stuck in hotel quarantine, unable to farewell a loved one. Gillian Hannah raced back to Australia from the US last month after being told her father's lungs were shutting down.
I just FaceTimed him. He's on a lot of medication and he sort of knew who I was, but, you know, was a little bit vague. I said what I needed to say and, you know, that's the last moments I get with him.
Gillian is fully vaccinated and has tested negative for COVID-19 twice since returning to Australia. Despite that, she's been denied a compassionate exemption and told she would need to charter a plane to travel to Victoria so she doesn't come into contact with the general community.
I don't have $10,000 just lying around, and I asked if I was able to drive down and they said absolutely not, we would never approve that.
Her story is remarkably similar to that of Anna Coffey, who has been granted an exemption to travel to Melbourne to see her dying dad.
I'm just going to be feeling so happy, so overwhelmed at that moment. I really just cannot wait.
Anna was finally reunited with her father today. He too has just days to live. New South Wales Health says it tries to show compassion in all cases, but it's simply being overwhelmed by all these requests, given so many people from other states are quarantining here in Sydney.
It's such a sad story. Victorians who have an illegal, unwanted or unregistered firearm will now be able to hand it in without fear of prosecution. The permanent national amnesty is a bid to reduce the number of guns falling into the wrong hands. It follows a successful 3-month amnesty in 2017.
The amnesty led to the surrender of some very dangerous firearms, including a homemade machine gun, a semi-automatic rifle with 1,000 rounds of ammunition and, bizarrely, even a rocket launcher.
The weapons should be given to a licensed firearm dealers and not taken directly to police stations. Britney Spears will remain under the care of her father, Jamie, for now. The pop star drew international attention last month when she detailed shock claims of exploitation. A judge ruled she remained substantially unable to manage financial resources or resist undue influence. Today's ruling applies to a previous application filed before her shock testimony. Ms Spears will have a new opportunity to apply for the arrangement to end in a few weeks. Former US Secretary of Defence Donald Rumsfeld has died aged 88. He oversaw the invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan, playing a key role in advising President George W. Bush to go to war in 2003. Mr Rumsfeld passed away surrounded by his family in New Mexico. More than 2 decades since her death, Princess Diana is being remembered for her lasting legacy on the world. On what would have been her 60th birthday, Diana's sons, Princes William and Harry, are uniting to unveil a memorial in her honour. Bureau Chief Hugh Whitfield reports.
The feuding brothers will come face to face at Kensington Palace, where they grew up, where Diana was essentially a single mother. They'll unveil a statue of the late princess on what would have been her 60th birthday. It was commissioned 4 years ago. It's a date that obviously can't be moved, whatever the disagreements are between the princes. It's all part of a broader makeover of the sunken garden at Kensington Palace, thought to have been Diana's favourite place. 4,000 flowers have been planted, including 100 forget-me-nots, Diana's favourite flower. Harry, of course, is back from California for the occasion, out of isolation now. He's delighted children at a charity awards ceremony in central London. The unveiling was meant to be a big party with more than 100 guests. It's been scaled back, not just because of COVID, but also because of the ongoing spat between the two dukes. Diana's siblings are expected to be there, and then Harry and William will break away for a private meeting, hoping they can put their differences to one side.
A worried mother has issued an emotional plea for help after her son's suspicious disappearance. That is just ahead. Plus, a warning about major disruptions along the Frankston line. And why some workers are getting a pay rise today and others are getting a pay cut. We're back soon, right here on 7.
I have never seen that before.
This phone belonged to Susan McAllister.
Justin Morgan, you're under arrest. We've both seen what he's capable of.
All it takes is a seed of doubt.
He's been violent and unpredictable.
Hey! You want me to call the police? Is that what you want?
You were right about Justin.
I'm being set up.
She's about to discover the truth. Home and Away, tonight on 7/2.
Tested 10 years in 10 minutes. Because it's what's inside that counts. And that's what makes it clearly a Sealy.
This is a cold drink that's brewed for bounce. And this is a hot drink that's brewed to soothe. They're both in a delicious range of drinks blended with ingredients from nature that can help you relax for a better night's sleep or keep you refreshed on the go. Introducing new Twinings Live Well. Drink some good.
Powerball has jackpotted to $60 million. Are you keen? Well, first you have to play.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
This isn't a game, laddie. Your car might not be able to repair itself, but you've got something just as powerful. Budget Direct car insurance.
Big cover without the big price. Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
Andy, can't stop, Ashwin. Loan application time.
Applying for a loan isn't as hard as you think. With an easy online application, ANZ GoBiz is the loan without the groan. Search ANZ GoBiz.
Kathmandu's winter sale is on now. So that jacket's on sale. And that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. Actually, they're all on sale. Right now in store and online.
Get well sooner with Blackmore's Bio-C.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you.
Is it the thrill of the chase?
Such a lucky break.
That make this unmissable.
Didgeridoo, Palace.
The Chase, weekdays at 5.
From today, workers will get paid more super and some employees will get some extra cash in every paycheck. The changes for the beginning of the new financial year also impact home buyers. And for the latest developments, we're joined now by Steve Mickenbecker from CanStar. Thanks so much for your time, Steve. Let's start with the changes to super. What do people need to know?
Well, the superannuation guarantee levy, that's the compulsory super you've got to pay, is going from 9.5% of your income to 10%. Now, for somebody on $80,000, that means an extra $400 a year. The good news is that that goes to your retirement savings or up. The bad news for some workers, though, can be that that can come out of the amount they take home in pay. Others, their employer will pay it. Now, you'll have to talk to your employer to understand exactly how that works. It depends on how the award works.
No, we'll have to talk to my employer. Some employees will also get a pay rise. Who does that cover?
Yeah, now that covers people on awards that are tied to the minimum wage. Now, the Fair Work people, the Fair Work Commission, has put through a 2.5% increase to the minimum wage. Now, for the 180,000 odd people on the minimum wage, that means about, $20 a week or something, $40 anyway, a week more. They go to $772 per week. Other awards, though, and this covers over 2 million people, are tied to that. So they'll also receive that 2.5%. That'll come through in July, September, November, depending on which industry you work in.
And there's also some good news for people who are wanting to enter the housing market. It certainly has been very tough.
Yeah, look, it has. And putting together a deposit is the problem. Now, there are a couple of schemes here. One's ongoing, and that's the First Home Loan Deposit Scheme.
I think we've just lost Steve there, so we might leave it there. I think that was almost all of it anyway. Power has finally been restored to all residents in Melbourne's east 3 weeks after storms devastated parts of the state. Huge trees came down, wreaking havoc on the power network. More than 220,000 AusNet customers were left in the dark. Crews were deployed from interstate to help fix the major infrastructure damage. A mother fears her son has been murdered after he disappeared a month ago from his home in Melbourne's southeast. There's been no sign of him since, and as Cameron Bowe reports, police believe he'd been in a fight before he vanished.
The family of Brendan Farrell feared that his life may end badly. At the moment, all they have are their fears with no answers. Brendan Farrell was last seen at his home in Doveton on May the 31st. It's known that a brawl took place at the property on that day. The 32-year-old was reported missing 2 days later. Police have arrested and interviewed one suspect over the disappearance of Brendan Farrell. No charges have been laid. Brendan Farrell has led a troubled life, a stint in jail and a long-term drug habit. His family are desperate to know why they've lost Brendan.
He was my rock. I told him everything. He made me feel safe, protected. He was first and foremost just a great brother.
We know there were a number of persons present at that address on that day. Some of those persons we've spoken to, some of them we haven't. Some of them we know and some of them we don't.
Police have carried out a thorough forensic examination of the property here at Doveton. They're also aware of some of Brendan Farrell's criminal connections.
From today, terminally ill residents in Western Australia can now opt to end their life on their own terms. The WA government has officially enacted voluntary assisted dying. To be eligible, 2 medical practitioners must independently assess the request and sign off. The person must also make 3 separate requests before being approved to confirm their intent. There's fresh hope this afternoon for those suffering chronic bowel disease. A new treatment from Pfizer called Xeljanz will soon be added to the PBS. The drug helps manage the physical and physiological impact caused by inflammatory bowel disease. More than 87,000 Australians live with the illness. A man seriously injured following a stabbing attack in Collingwood. It happened on Ver Street around 7:40 last night. Police are still investigating what led up to the violent attack and have not laid any charges. Commuters living along the Frankston line are being warned to brace for 3 months of disruption. Level crossings will be removed at Edithvale, Chelsea and Bond Beach, and replacement stations expected to open in November.
We've done as much as we can without disrupting train services, but obviously when you are literally replacing track and taking one station down and putting another one in, you can't run trains at the same time. So we'll look to minimise disruption.
The state government says the project is a year ahead of schedule. You're watching 7 News. We're back with Mike Amor and Jane Bunn straight after the break.
It's a history-making weekend of footy when legendary Sean Burgoyne plays his 400th game. S-I-L-K! Come and witness history Saturday night, the Hawks up against Port. But first, the Hunters have become the Hunted.
A lot of trouble here.
Is this the end of Richmond's premiership run? The Suns are ready to beat up the wounded Tigers. Then,
Cats fans Fans, get out of your seat.
Can Geelong claw back to the top and crush Essendon's final hopes? The history-making weekend of footy starts tonight on 7.
What is money for? If not for the place you call home, or your very own business.
We can help with whatever matters most. NAB, more than money.
Have you heard about melatonin and its effect on sleep? Your pharmacist can now provide Circadin without a prescription where beneficial. Melatonin is a natural hormone responsible for regulating sleep and maintaining our circadian rhythm, the internal body clock. Circadin mimics the natural release of melatonin in the body and is clinically proven to improve sleep initiation, sleep quality and morning alertness. To help restore your natural sleep cycle and improve your quality of life, ask your pharmacist about Circadin.
With Red Rock Deli, there's always something new to discover. Feed your curiosity.
New Naturally Good Anti-Age with 99% naturally derived ingredients, plus 1% for stability and safety, with organic burdock extract. Visibly reduces wrinkles in 2 weeks. 100% transparency for 100% trust.
Beacon Stocktake sale is on now with reduced prices on all stock at all Beacon lighting stores across Australia and online. Don't let these savings get away. Sale ends next Sunday.
It goes lights, camera, action when I step into the limelight. Easily adapted to the highlight.
That's good food and drinks. My mood makes you think that this life's made for a king. So many different things to do within the high life.
Oh, we've been there for every game, a 4 and 20 pie. When Ben Simmons makes a 3, we give a big high five. Oh, what a lovely pie, me mates, a 4 and 20 pie. Oi!
Is it the thrill of the chase?
Oh! That was such a lucky rake.
Or is it a game that pushes them to the limits of their knowledge that make this unmissable?
Didgeridoo. Fencing.
Match.
Grease. Palace.
The Chase, weekdays at 5.
This weather report brought to you by Bridgestone Select for tyres and car servicing.
Mike Amor is working on tonight's edition of 7 News at 6. Hello, Mike. There is mixed news today on the national battle with the Delta variant.
Jack, the news is good in Victoria with no new cases, but not so good in New South Wales. There's been 24 new cases there, and anger about people still moving around the community even when they're not feeling well. Anger also over scenes on Noosa Beach with plenty of Victorian holidaymakers flouting Queensland lockdown laws. It's a different story though today. Details at 6. Also, incredible vision of a wrong-way driver on a freeway. See how they did a U-turn after missing an exit and headed back down the wrong side of the motorway. And a special report as new supplies of Pfizer arrive. How to get the jab and your questions answered on the vaccines. All today's top stories in 7 News tonight at 6, Jack.
OK, Mike, we'll see you then. Let's take a quick look now at Melbourne's roads.
Good afternoon, happy Thursday. I'm Jess Miller in the Stays traffic chopper. Big delays for Eastlink driving southbound or towards Frankston, the reason being bricks spilt on the road, so the 2 left-hand lanes are out of action near Greens Road. In terms of the other freeways though, for the most part they are behaving themselves. This is what the Westgate freeway looks like. As you can see, the usual peak hour delays heading outbound and inbound looking pretty good. You don't have to go far from Melbourne to get away together. Book the home that makes the holiday with Stays. Your together awaits. Download the Stays app for your next holiday today.
Time now for an update on the weather with Jane Bunn. Jane, it's the middle of winter, but it's been a gorgeous day.
Jack, it has been an absolutely outstanding day. Now, we usually average a top of 13 in July, but today was the third in a row where we've reached 17 degrees. With bright sunshine and a breezy northerly, you may have thought it wasn't really July. Quite a few suburbs have reached 18. Further north, it isn't quite as pleasant, with clouds stuck on the northern side of the ranges. There's rain up in the Alps, but not much elsewhere, although an area of showers and thunderstorms is just getting started over here in the west, likely to continue tonight. A high to our east brings the warm sunshine, but a trough to our north is producing rain through all of these parts of the eastern states, just brushing us here in Victoria. Up next, our weather is going to change in a big way. A strong cold front arrives tomorrow, and the low associated with that will stick with us all weekend. So light rain continues north of the ranges, but that cold front brings a burst of wet weather moving from west through to east tomorrow. When that arrives, temperatures plummet. That hits Melbourne late afternoon. On Saturday, it finally snows up in the Alps as we shiver through a bitterly cold air mass. Most of the wet weather is along the ranges and over in the southwest, and we should see snow on the hills around Ballarat. In Melbourne on Saturday, it is generally dry, but very, very cold. And that changes on Sunday as the low moves and spreading that wet weather through Melbourne as well, along with wintry hail and rumbles of thunder and more snow up on the ranges. Around the nation tomorrow, rain in Brisbane, while Sydney does turn dry with increasing sunshine. It's showery in Canberra, while Hobart is cloudy but dry. Adelaide, lots of showers passing through, partly cloudy in Perth. To Victoria, areas of light rain along the ranges. That's ahead of a burst of wet weather spreading through from the western parts. When that arrives, temperatures plummet and there is wintry hail and thunder. Now, it doesn't reach East Gippsland until overnight, so it's warm and dry there all day. So in Melbourne, we are dry all morning and early afternoon, a top of 16. That is the time to head out. But there is a change arriving late afternoon. Around 3 or 4 p.m. is when it starts. Expect a burst of wet weather as temperatures drop right down into the single digits, so take your jacket if you are heading out. So tomorrow it is nice in the morning, but there is a big cold and wet change coming on later in the day, Jack.
So 18 degrees and sunny in some parts today and then snow by Saturday.
Absolutely. It's a big, big change that is headed our way.
OK, we'll get more at 6. Thank you, Jane. And that is all from the 7 Newsroom for now. Mike Amor is here at 6, but from the team, take care.